Welcome to the Kiwimana Buzz.
Hey everyone, this is episode 43 of the Kiwimana Buzz, the beekeeping podcast where we talk about beekeeping, gardening and life. And this week we're chatting to Michael Young all the way from Ireland. Okay, well, today we've got Michael from Northern Ireland, and Michael is a beekeeper who is the current chairman of the Institute of the Northern Ireland Beekeepers and was awarded the MBE in 2008 for voluntary services to beekeeping. He loves bees and is addicted to making mead, and he's also an executive chef. So I don't know how you find the time to do beekeeping as well there, Michael. So how's it going today?
Going well, Gary. You know, I was out in the shed today cleaning and painting the hives ready for the spring. And again, I was starting to make some mead in that. But there's so many arms to beekeeping, you know, I mean, and I'm into every arm, whatever it is, if it's apitherapy, if it's encaustic wax, if it's mead making, candle making, honey judging, whatever. You know, it's a very contagious and addictive hobby, which I'm proud to be part of, really.
It certainly is. Yes, I know. We'll have talked to you about that encaustic. Is it encaustic, is it? Is that you say it?
Encaustic means to burn.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because we get a lot of artists coming to us to buy beeswax from us to use it for that painting, so yeah. It seems to be gaining popularity here, so that's awesome.
Good. It's it's one of the oldest skills known to man. I mean, we're going back to the days of Pompeii or the pyramids for Egypt, where they used to use encaustic wax by burning the wax and the pigments, the color pigments, into the stones of the pyramids or Pompeii. And that, you know, when you see all these beautiful pictures, I mean, I was fortunate to go and see the pyramids, and those paintings are as good as though you thought they'd been done yesterday. Absolutely amazing. And all it is pigments, colored pigments, mixed with beeswax. They used to hold up the wax against the walls, the stones. And of course, then you'd have another sort of slave would be having a red hot torch, a flame, and burn the wax right into the rock, you know, and it's there, and it's amazing. The colors are stunning. So as far as encaustic wax is today, we cheat a little bit because we use an iron, a traveling iron, which is the heat tool, and then we use the waxes, but we use like a photo card, as though you would take photographs with. And then we don't really burn it in, we burn it on. So in reality, we're cheating a wee bit, but the paintings that you can produce from using the travel iron or an iron is absolutely amazing. I mean, once you put those beautiful wax colors onto that piece of card, it is stunning. Some of the colors are just unreal.
Oh, fantastic. I've seen some really good ones of like sunsets and stuff like that.
Yeah, sunsets are the easiest ones to do, would you believe it? And, you know, some of the sunsets are just like Turner, a great British painter, would paint, you know, and they are stunning. It's not that difficult to actually do. You just need to practice. So anyone can basically do it. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, you'll have to send us over a photo of one of your paintings and we'll include it in the show notes, so.
Do that.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
I'll do.
See what, so people can see how it is, and you know, if they want to get into it. How did you get started in beekeeping, Michael?
Well, it's funny. My wife is actually the one who I actually thank very much, because I'm one of these guys who like to just try things. You know, I don't really think about it. I just do it. I'm a doer rather than, you know, a not doer. And funny, all us doers, whoever that we are, always seem to get in trouble, you know, because we do it. And I find that my wife actually came home one night many, many, many years ago and said, she just got her hair done. And she says, my hairdresser asked if she knew anyone who wanted a box of bees to buy. And I said, yes, I would like to buy them. I knew absolutely nothing about bees. I knew nothing about bees. And that's how it started. And my wife bought my first hive for £90. And I collected them in a very dangerous situation. The gentleman who sold them to me, unfortunately, didn't have a crown board or a roof on. And to me, I didn't understand what that meant. I didn't even know what a crown board was.
Yeah.
Didn't know if they wanted a roof. And he had a piece of linen tied over the bees with a piece of string wrapped around it. You know, looking back, that's the most dangerous thing you could ever do, especially to someone who hadn't got a clue what a beehive was or a bee. And of course, I picked him up in the van in Belfast, and the van was the beehive was bouncing all over the van and cracking from one side to the other. And again, because I didn't understand bees, I had no fear. And when I arrived home, most of the bees were out the back of the van. And, you know, it's strange because when I opened the door and it was dark, I saw all these bees everywhere. And then they started getting into my beard. So I nipped into the house. I closed the van door, and then run into the house. My wife brushed them out of my beard. And, of course, then the next couple of days, I found a beekeeper. He came out and smoked them in the back of the van, sorted them out, put them back in, and he gave me a roof. And that was it, really. I mean, very, very dangerous, silly thing to do, you know, is collect bees like that. And but then I never had the fear of a sting because I've never been stung before.
Yeah.
But that changed my whole life, Gary, to be honest with you. I mean, you know, bees are my second family. There's no question about it. And it's a wonderful, wonderful hobby. And I'm a nature guy as well. And I think beekeeping is the closest thing you can ever get to nature, really. Once you're working in those bees, everything just disappears, all your worries and your troubles and your stress of modern day living.
Yeah.
You know, it's wonderful.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Do you talk to your bees, Michael? Because they say if you tell your bees your troubles, they go away, don't they?
Oh, I always talk to them.
Yeah.
You know, always talk to them. Maybe that's going nutty, but so what? You know, we talk to our dogs, we talk to our cats, and what's wrong with talking to bees?
Oh, nothing. Absolutely nothing. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's lucky that our hives are usually in remote areas, so you know, you're not doing it in the middle of town.
Well, you guys have lots of bees. I mean, you've millions of bees over there, unlike us. I mean, our average beekeeper, especially in Northern Ireland, our average beekeeper would have about 4 hives.
Yeah.
You know, purely because we haven't got the weather and we haven't got the forage. I mean, we would make maybe, last year, I think a mean average of a hive was £40, and that was doing well. Wow. I mean, over the previous years, because our weather is so wet, I think we were picking up £12 of honey.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, I fed my bees last year 800 weight of sugar.
Oh, God.
You know, that was basically, at the time I've only got 8 hives. I mean, that was 100 weight of sugar a hive.
Yeah.
To keep them alive.
How long is your honey season there, Michael? Is it like a couple of months or?
Yeah, a couple of months. It's very short.
Yeah.
Especially with weather. I mean, you're talking 2 months, really.
Yeah. Yeah, because ours is about probably 4, so.
But then you've got the great abundance of the weather, and you've got loads of eucalyptus, and you have loads of tea tree and Salvation Jane and all that stuff. You've got mass amount of it.
Yeah, we have. We've got a lot of natives as well here, like cabbage trees and, as you say, manuka trees. And yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There's lots of choice. And then we've got the introduced stuff like, you know, clover and gorse and stuff.
Well, you see, gorse is a good one, but it doesn't give that much in nectar. Clover, in the old days, every farmer in the land grew clover. But because of its breakdown, when the farmers used to put it into their pens, into their sheds for the cattle for the winter, they had to use molasses to break it down. They poured molasses onto the clover. And it was a hard thing to do, you know, it cost money, and to break that clover down was difficult. But then they stop growing clover. So the odd field of clover is a great site because we really don't have that much clover in Ireland, basically.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. Gorse is a fantastic source of pollen for them, isn't it? It's a great source for feeding the bees and stuff.
Pollen is fantastic from the gorse, and they do very, very well. One of our nicest honey is ling heather. I don't know if you've come across that.
No, I haven't, no.
Well, we have two heathers. And I must admit, I would say ling heather is the caviar of all honeys. And I've tasted an awful lot of honeys. And it is stunning. But ling heather is thick stropic. It's like a jelly.
Yeah.
It doesn't granulate. Never, ever. And it is hard. We have to press the combs to get it out. And it's just like jelly. And it's unbelievable. The flavor is stunning. But the most beautiful thing about it is it actually starts to flower in the cold months at the end of August, September. So the bees can't really get it. And I would say the flower is the size of a pin. And the bees get so angry because it really is so addictive to the bees that they get really angry because they can't get at it. And when they get at it, the flower is so small, it makes them cross and wicked, and then they sting all around them, But
so it makes them angry.
That's the ling heather. And then we have the bell heather. The bell heather is stunning also. Dark heather, not thick stropic. And the perfume is very similar to Chanel No. 5. So you can imagine it really is a cracker honey.
Wow. That sounds a lot like our Manuka honey, like a jelly kind of thing, and it's very difficult to get spin out of a comb. Very difficult.
You're absolutely right, but to be honest with you, Manuka honey is very difficult in flavour. It's not a great flavour honey. It's a great medicinal honey.
Yeah.
Now, the research just recently on the heather honeys in Glasgow by a professor has basically said the heather's honeys in the UK are as good as Manuka. They've just done a 6-month research on it. But the thing about with Manuka, it's not the best flavoured honey, to be honest with you. And even the perfume coming off it, and I don't want to insult you people, you're beekeepers.
There'll be beekeepers all over New Zealand raising their fists now, Michael. So.
Oh, it's okay. I can handle that.
No, it's fine.
I'll do that rugby Zulu warrior charge.
Oh, you mean the haka? Yeah, that's it.
We have one over here, but we use guns.
Oh, okay. We're going to use wooden spears, so you'll be all right.
You have no chance.
Oh no, it's I think Manuka's an acquired taste, and it's kind of that's just what our honey tastes like here, so we're kind of used to it. But yeah, I agree. It's probably I know a lot of people don't like the taste overseas, and they use it like for more medicinal things like bandages and things like that, don't they? Yeah,
I mean, there's no question about it. Every house with every first aid box should have a jar of honey.
Yeah,
especially for wounds and especially for burns, more so for burns. And Manuka is good at that as well. But the only people that you shouldn't put on an open wound, honey on an open wound, is actually diabetics, because it goes straight into the blood.
Oh, okay.
Just to let you know that. But yeah, every house should have a jar of honey for medicinal purposes.
Yep, absolutely. And what's the main type of hive you keep? Do you mainly keep Langstroths?
Well, yeah, you see, my problem is I'm a Langstroth person, and I have tried every hive available. I've tried the commercial, I've tried the Dadant, I've tried the WVC, CDB, Smith, and National, and I've tried every hive. And it was only by chance that someone gave me some Langstroth hives, and I couldn't believe it. I thought it was a terrific hive. Now, unfortunately, we don't have many Langstroth people in Ireland. I think there's no more than 6 of us who have Langstroth hives. They have a national hive. Now, personally, the national hive is a British standard hive. It's a British hive. And I'll be honest with you, and I have no worries in saying this, it's the worst hive in the world. And if I want to fight amongst beekeepers, I would say that the Langstroth is the best hive in the world. And they really can't handle that because to them the National is the best.
Oh,
and I just think it's a very sad hive, to be honest with you.
Yeah, mainly here everyone's using Langstroths and a few people with top bars. And
yeah.
And it's a few kind of hobbyists using worry hives, but never seen a national hive yet.
Good one.
Yeah, It's kind of more square, but that really surprises me. There's not many Langstroth people in Ireland. I thought there'd be a few more.
No, I only know, I would say I only know about 6 really right across the breadth of Ireland. In my association, there is 1. We have 110 members and I know 1.
Wow.
You know, and the other one, the other couple are down south of Ireland. But, you know, beekeeping is like religion. You get the hive that suits you. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You know, if you like keeping bees in Langstroth, great. If you like keeping them international, that's great too.
Yeah, exactly.
It's whatever suits you, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And I think whatever suits your bees, I think is another criteria, isn't it? What they like, you know.
Well, this is a fact. I mean, again, our bees, you know, I mean, there's so many imports now, and I have no absolute problem against imports. There are people who are very, how can I put it, sensitive to imports. They don't like imports purely because it brings in diseases, and I'm sure you know that in New Zealand.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
It brings in a different type of trait. I personally think that our best bee is the native bee, which is, you know, a mongrel bee. Yeah, it's been around for a while. You know, so I don't know. I mean, I'm a great Darwin guy, and you know, selection is the best. Every animal that we've worked with, domestic animals, we've selected the best to make a better animal. So with bees, our island is very small indeed. And I do believe there is so much inbreeding because of the size of the island. Has a knock-on effect with our own bees. And if we don't bring in a proper new genetic material, there is absolutely no way we're going to sort our problems out with our bees until we do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Are these the Donegal native bees you're talking about?
Well, you see, the native bee is all around us, you know, and I like Donegal bees. I mean, Donegal bees are fantastic. I've seen them, little black fella, you know, and they're as wee and tiny as anything, but what a worker. And see the beeswax they produce, it's just snow white, tall cappings, you know, big domed cappings. I don't think you get domed cappings over there, do you?
What do you mean, sorry? Do you mean dome cappings?
You know, where you get a big dome. Your combs are normally a bit straighter, aren't they? There's no sort of like a comb dome sitting on top of the comb.
Oh, we do. You mean like crazy comb kind of stuff? Like it comes right out of the frame?
Not so much I'm on about when they close it, when they seal the cell.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have a very big dome on the end, or do you have a flat type cap?
Yeah, generally flat, unless it's a drone cell. Then it's a big, like, you know, bullet shape kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. See, the interesting thing about it, they say that the cold climate bees, actually dome it because that leaves an air gap. So when it does start to get really cold, it doesn't freeze so much and it doesn't crack, so the honey doesn't leak. As whereas the warm climate bees, they have straight cappings.
Oh, okay.
And they don't need that wee gap between the wax and the liquid behind. So, you know, and to be honest with you, they all talk about this British bee being the best there is. And if we go back in the 20s when Akron was around and Dr. Rennie and found Akron, and apparently, according to Brother Adam, he said the bees were totally wiped out. I mean, they were literally wiped out in Isle of Man, Isle of Wight disease. And and Scotland, England, Wales, and Ireland. Now, I'm not going to argue with, with Brother Adam, one of the greatest beekeeping minds in this century. And he said that all the bees were wiped out. If we go back to 1920, and this disease wiped out, I know the British government would buy in. I think they bought 175,000 skeps of bees from Holland in 1 week. And the following couple of months, they bought thousands upon thousands of skeps of bees from Germany, the black bee.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know, and I believe, and I can argue night and day about this, that bees that we have today are really from Germany and Holland. You know, the trait is really from them, and it's a sensible idea, really. I mean, and I don't know if you know Bailey. He's a fantastic writer on disease, and Bailey is one of the best books you can ever get. I think it's about 1950 or something. Yeah. And he does say in his writings how many hives were brought in from Germany and Holland. You know, and when you have bees wiped out on an island, it doesn't take long for those bees coming in to multiply. You know, in the thousands. And, you know, I think we just have a lot of trade from the German and Dutch bee.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, so that's obviously weakened the native bee, I guess, isn't it?
Well, according to Adam, there wasn't a native bee. There wasn't one, you know, because it was totally wiped out. But even if there was 1%, that 1%, you know, its progeny is gone.
Yeah, exactly.
It's totally gone. I mean, even if it's 10%, you know, it just doesn't work, you know, genetically. You know, and the black bee, well, the original bee the British bee was a brown bee. And where does black bee come from? I think it was purely from Holland and from Germany.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. So, because you're actually breeding those bees, aren't you, at the moment?
Sorry?
Are you breeding the Donegal bees at the moment?
I love Donegal bees, and I have a couple, and I've had them for quite a while. The major problem is that we're not allowed to bring in Northern Ireland. It's hard to believe this. Northern Ireland is very small, 6 counties on the island. We're not allowed to bring bees from across the border. It's illegal.
Oh, okay.
Because Southern Ireland is another country.
Yeah.
This is how it works. And, you know, I don't know, but unless the bees fly across the border, they're not allowed to fly across the border anyway. But
I'm sure they won't listen to that, but
no, they won't. But we can actually bring in bees, but we have to go through proper procedures, and we have to get them tested. And you know, if we buy in a queen bee or something, or we just have to go to our normal Department of Agriculture. They have to be checked and things like that.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Isn't that silly, really?
Yeah, unless Southern Ireland got different diseases, maybe.
Well, you know, no, we're a very small island. I mean, I think the farthest point, would you believe it, the farthest point, if I drove from the tip of the Northern Ireland in the car and I went to the other tip of Ireland, this gives you an idea. I don't think it'd take me more than 6 hours.
Yeah, it's not. It is quite small. Yeah.
What is that like? You know, I think in agriculture and total agriculture and whatever, the whole island should be the same.
I think so. Yeah, absolutely. That seems crazy to me. I mean,
we don't have a water barrier between us. You know, it's not like France is across the water there and you keep them out type of thing. I mean, I just think it's ludicrous, this red tape business. And we're all in the EU as well. Yeah,
exactly. And it's just a border on a map, isn't it?
That's all it is, a pencil mark.
Exactly. And the bees won't care. They don't care about politics, do they, really?
Absolutely right.
It's all about what's good for the hive and what's good for the next generation, isn't it?
That's right. I mean, you know, again, we certainly need new genetic material. There are people who are breeding bees, but with what they're breeding them with, you know, it's too close.
Yeah.
We could do with some of those New Zealand drones or something over here. I believe they're pretty stud. in their making.
Yeah, I know a lot of. I spoke to some beekeepers in London, Emily and Emma. They've actually got some New Zealand queens there, so they have got the New Zealand genetics down there.
Yeah, I know that. I know a few people in the UK who have New Zealand bees. The major problem with the New Zealand bees is they're the most beautiful bee you ever did look at.
Yep.
They're pretty. They're golden. They're really gorgeous. But our main problem is the weather for them. And they are a bit lazy. They won't go out and do some work, Not like the...
on a wet day, you mean?
Yeah. It's different in your climate. They're probably out early morning. But here, it's too cold for them. They're all on the landing board waiting for the sun to come up.
Yeah.
Whereas our native bee, it's working in the rain, it's working in the cold. It's used to it. And off it goes and comes back in, But I don't think there's a prettier bee than the New Zealand bee. It's so pretty.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
really
that's the thing, that they've adapted to the New Zealand conditions. They're not designed for Europe anymore, are they? It's been over 100 years of adapting to here, so they're obviously going to change, so.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't know. How did you get your first bees? I can't remember who it was that bought them your first.
Oh, it was in the late 1800s. I think it was someone from England, I think.
Was it cotton? No?
No, I believe it was a lady.
Okay.
So I'm not, I should find out that out, actually. That should be interesting to find out. But I know they brought an AFB at the same time, which was a bit of a mistake.
Jeez.
They could have stopped that. It would have been great. It could have been AFB three, but
it could have. Isn't that unbelievable?
Yeah, it's crazy. But
well, we had 14 counts last year of AFB.
Yeah.
14 apres, and our bee inspectors. There's not many of them. In fact, there's only about 3 of them, I believe, in the north, and they have to do the whole lot. But they managed to find 14 apres, and of course we burn them. There's no argument about it. You do get these people who say you can save them, but forget it. You know.
We did the same thing. Absolutely.
You did the same thing, yeah.
Yeah, I found a friend of mine had AFB last week, and we've discovered that. So he's having to burn this hive, so it's really sad. But yeah,
I've done it 3 times, and it's the most saddest thing you ever did. It's like burning your house down. Yeah,
it is, with your children in it.
Even your friend or whoever, I would advise somebody do it for him, because it's an awful thing to see your bees being burnt.
Yeah,
it really is awful, and you go away very sad for a few days, and it does affect you a wee bit.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I get upset when I have to. I haven't done it for about 10 years now, so I'm AFB free.
Yeah.
But it's a very sad occasion. In fact, the last time I actually got it, I've only got it 3 times, and only in 1 hive at each time. And the last one I couldn't do. I just asked my friend, I said, do me a favor, go and dispose of that for me.
Yeah.
I did. I just couldn't watch it,
No, it's not nice at all.
No.
Absolutely. I mean, it's even sad just seeing a hive that's full of varroa mites and going to be it's going to die. And it's heartbreaking, isn't it?
It's an awful sad case. But I think there's something, I know varroa and all these other things, but for you to actually put a light to that colony, and the house and all, and yes, you can scorch it, but to be honest with you, I wouldn't take a chance with AFB. I would just burn the lot.
Yeah, no, it's not worth it. Because apparently the spores actually can go like an inch into the wood or something, apparently, because it's microscopic, so...
Absolutely, and a spore can last over 100 years. It can lie around for 100 years before it recycles again.
That's it. I mean, I've heard of a few people using their old grandfather's beehives that have been in the shed for 60 years and they've got AFB in them,
Yeah, absolutely. The spore, once the condition comes back, because the spore wraps itself up like an armor plating.
Yeah.
And until the condition comes back, and it does come back, then they just adapt very quickly.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's so it's definitely a good case to buy new gear when you buy new hives, isn't it?
There's no question about that. If you want a trouble-free beekeeping career, is start with the best.
Yeah.
And might be a wee bit more expensive, but really, I mean, I purchased 4 hives about 7 years ago, and one of them had AFB, which I was so silly. I trusted this guy and didn't get it checked out. And that's one thing that if anybody is buying any bees, get a professional or go yourself and inspect it really well before you take it home.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Just check there's any signs of AFB or anything, because you know if it's there, don't buy it. Absolutely. Yeah. So how many hives have you got at the moment, Michael? It's about 4, is it?
No, I've got 8 now. I'm coming up to 8. I just got 4 from a friend who's a very good friend, and I did have 4, so I've got 8 in total.
Yeah. And do you keep them at is it a golf club?
No, I've moved from the golf club. I'm actually working at the Belfast Hilton Hotel.
Oh, okay.
I love the Hilton hotels. I did have the golf club, and it was fantastic, I must admit.
Yeah.
And I moved on. I have a couple at the house, and I have another 4 up at my friends up in Londonderry or Derry. Yeah. There's a bit of a fight at the moment, whether we call it Londonderry or whether we call it Derry.
Yeah.
Or legendary.
So, okay. So
they have some beautiful crops up there. So I have a friend up there, a guy called Leo. Yeah. He looks after them for me as well.
Oh, fantastic. So is that a long drive to get to there or not too far?
It's about 60 miles. To us, it's a long drive.
Yeah.
You know, you guys, it's nothing, I would imagine.
Oh, it's quite a way. That's about 100 k's, isn't it? Roughly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a long drive to check your bees.
You see, Leo he's such a great beekeeper and a great friend, and that's where the ling heather is as well.
Oh,
you know, it's up there, and ling heather is in spots all around Ireland. It's, you know, you could have maybe 100 miles from one spot of ling heather to the other.
Yeah.
And that's actually the closest for me for ling heather.
Oh, this honey sounds amazing, Michael. You must store a jar for when I come to visit you one day.
You do that, mate, because I make sure I'll keep you a jar.
Absolutely. I'll trade you for a jar of Manuka honey. But you can use it for bandages, you know.
It'll probably be cheaper than the ones over here. You can pay 30 quid for a Manuka honey.
Yeah, I know. I've heard some shocking stories about how much it costs there. So is it okay to bring in honey from other countries to Ireland, or is that frowned upon?
No, the only problem is America for some unknown reason. Oh, you know, I don't think they like bringing American honey. I don't know why.
Is that because the antibiotics, maybe?
I don't know. I think it's an Americanism. I think it's been the EU. I don't know if you're still a Commonwealth country, actually.
We are, yeah. We still are.
You know, that's sort of let you in a wee bit. You know, not that I haven't seen any New Zealand bacon for a long time, but it seemed to be okay with you guys. But if you're not in the EU or if you're not in the Commonwealth, you seem to be have a lot of obstacles to bring stuff in.
Yeah. Yeah,
Manuka honey is everywhere, and you guys are very clever because Manuka itself, as I say, it's not even anybody I speak with find it difficult in flavour or taste, but you've actually put it out as a medicine, which is very, very clever.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know if you know the old English medicine bottles were always brown with white lids and square. And whoever copied that across, I thought that was a classic.
Oh, they've got the best marketers in the world, I think. You know, absolutely.
Without question. Well done to you guys, anyway.
Absolutely. So it must have been a huge honour to get your MBE for beekeeping. You tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, it was. I mean, an MBE, that's a hell of a thing to have. You know, I was very humbled by it, and it was for apiculture and conservation. And a member of the British Empire. I don't know if you know Professor Keith Delaplane. He's from Georgia University.
I've heard the name, yeah, but I haven't spoken to him, no.
he's brilliant. He's brilliant beekeeper, and he's from Georgia, but he received an MBE yesterday, 2 days ago actually, Wednesday.
I think I saw the photo on your Facebook page. Yeah,
that's right.
Yep.
And that's a very rare occasion as well for someone outside the UK. Different in the Commonwealth, there's a lot of people in the Commonwealth, New Zealand and that, but no, to get an MBE is it's crazy, I mean, I have it sitting here somewhere. I don't know if you can see it. I'll show you, which is quite nice. Nice job.
Oh, that's a nice medal, yeah. Fantastic.
It's a real cracker,
Yeah.
And the certificate, the certificate is stunning because the whole thing about it is unbelievable. And I'm going to show you the certificate because it's from Elizabeth, Regina.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And signed by Philip.
Wow.
Because he is the Sovereign's Command Grand Master, Philip.
Yeah.
And to get that there, it's really great. And to say it was for apiculture and conservation.
Oh, I think that's fantastic to get the words, bees out there among the public, eh? It gives it good publicity. So that's awesome. Well done. Yeah. Well done on that.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
Oh, that's good. And so what's one thing you wish you knew before you started beekeeping that you know now?
I wish I knew before I wish I knew. I actually wish, to be honest with you, I'd actually been a beekeeper way, way, way back. I mean, even when I was a child. Because in those days, even at school, we never talked about a bee. I never even knew what a honeybee was,
Yeah.
Different today now, but in the 50s and 60s, bees weren't even thought about. I never knew what a beekeeper was. And I would have wished that I would have had about another 30 or 40 years in beekeeping, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So you'd wish you'd started earlier?
Absolutely. And I'm so glad I have 4 grandchildren. I have four daughters and 4 granddaughters.
Yeah.
And I make sure they're very involved with bees because it's a wonderful thing to be involved with. It really is.
Oh, absolutely. I think talking to school kids about bees and, inviting them over and showing them they're not going to kill you and stuff, it's really important because, they are the next beekeepers, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, kids love anything to do with bees. Yeah. Anything at all. And they love drawing pictures. They love making poems. And they ask the most incredible questions about bees,
Yeah, absolutely.
When I was talking to some school children, one little kid said to me, well, if they flap their wings so hard when they're fanning, with the Nasnoff gland, if they're fanning, why is it they don't take off? And that's how kids come across. They said, and it's funny, you say that, Gary, because Jürgen Totes, I don't know if you know Jürgen, I'm sure you do. Jürgen Totes is the German guy. And he actually wrote the book, The Buzz About the Honeybee.
Okay, yep.
But if you haven't got it, get it. Because it's one of the best books you could ever get, and it was a bestseller. Now, Jürgen is a very good friend of mine, and I was speaking to him. He's the guy that found out about lots of things. And the thing about his book is there's nothing bad in it. There's no disease. There's nothing bad about bees. It's the way bees should be.
Yeah.
He was explaining to me that they have a World Wide Web system already made up on the comb. And what he did an experiment, and it was all to do with the sickle cell dancing. They come in from the forage, they do a dance, and then do the shake, do a figure of 8, and back out, tells the other bees, the scout bees, where they are.
Yeah.
So he was saying that he was watching a child at the observation hive, and the child was looking up, and he says, those feet are not leaving the comb. So the actual dancer was actually holding tight onto the comb. The feet did not leave the comb at all when he was doing the dance. And this is what started investigated into this, and it's purely through a child's thoughts. But he goes further. And what he did, actually, he cut where the bee came in and danced. He actually cut that piece out and put it into another frame of bees. He welded it back up, say 2 frames to the right or 2 frames. When the bee came back, the bee would look for that and couldn't find it. And until she found it on the next couple of combs, which was totally amazing. So they called this the dance floor.
Yeah.
And what the bees had actually done, they synchronized all the comb to let that vibration from that one spot cut right across the comb, right across the tips of the comb, and tuned it all in so every bee could feel that vibration on both sides of the comb.
Wow.
Which like a World Wide Web, and I thought that was totally amazing that he could do that. And he shows it in his book how he did that, and it's a great book, The Buzz About Honeybees.
I'll put a link on the show notes for that, about that book. That sounds awesome. And so
and that's just a small, and he has a website, and it's called Hobus, and get your guys to look at it. He has a place there for children to study bees.
Yeah.
And it's Hobus is Honeybees Online Studies, HOBOS. And that's for all children of all nationalities, and it's a great learning tool for kids. It really is a brilliant website.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, well, I'll include that link in the show notes for our listeners. That's fantastic. Yeah, and we're actually speaking to a lady this week and she goes around to different schools to talk to kids. So it's going to be interesting as well, because I really think, kids. It is definitely got to get kids out there and get them into beekeeping.
I think you're right. I mean, we do a lot of talking to schools as well, and when we have our honey competitions, we always bring children in their art. We have a special class for art on honeybees, and they do some fantastic paintings, the paintings you never see in your life, and it's great. I mean, it really enriches a child's life, really, when you bring the bees into them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think it connects them to their environment as well, doesn't it? And,
It does, and makes them investigate further. I mean, outside the video world or the laptop or the iPad, and films and television, if you can get them interested in one area in the garden, then it'll start to develop.
Yeah.
And bees are certainly a good introduction to the outside world for them.
Absolutely. And so what do you think's the biggest issue facing the bees in your area at the moment, Michael?
Our biggest issue actually is the weather. If we could do something with the weather, we'd be fine. But besides that, we do. I think one of our main issues actually is beekeepers that are educated. An uneducated beekeeper is the most dangerous beekeeper you can get. That they don't know the difference between a disease or a swarm or and we do try to get people involved by joining a beekeeping association purely for that. That is always has been a major problem in Ireland. We have some fantastic beekeepers, but we have a lot of bad beekeepers, really bad beekeepers.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with like AFB and things like that. If they can pick it up quickly.
Yeah, AFB, and the other one is chalkbird. We get a lot of chalkbird as well, which is a problem with the queen, to requeen and things like that. Certainly, I'll give you an example. The Varroa, when we first got the Varroa, after about I only use oxalic acid, by the way, but I use the trickle method. I've never ever used hard chemicals.
Yeah.
And I would never use hard chemicals. Oxalic acid to me is a soft chemical, not the gas one, the trickle method.
Yeah.
I've used a lot of essential oils through my past. And one of the most interesting essential oil that I used, which kept Varroa really well down, was tea tree oil, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Tea tree.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard a lot of people using that. I think is it the Fat Bee Man in America? He uses it too.
Yeah, I think tea tree oil. I go to the States quite a lot, and even at the beginning, early stage of Varroa, people looked at people who are using essential oils as quacks. We're quacks, and I don't mind being a quack, to be honest with you.
Well,
I mean,
if it works, Michael, then they can call you what they like, can't they?
The other one was actually peppermint oil and pepper oil and lemon oil. The only oil you don't use is banana oil.
Yeah.
Because banana oil has the same familiar scent as the Nasnoff gland and produce an alarm. I'm a great believer in, I won't give my bees what I wouldn't give my children. And it's as simple as that there,
Yeah.
I mean, when my wife gives me a massage, she uses pepper oil on my back, so I'm quite happy. And I got fantastic results with essential oils. The only problem is if you use essential oils, too much of it, it can't supersede you. It can't cause a supersedure in the hive, because they don't smell the queen then. The pheromone's masked.
Yeah,
So things are trouble. I've experienced that in my first early days. But I would recommend the essential oil route, to be honest with you, oxalic acid. I'd be a bit scared on the gassing, even though it's practically 100% kill by using the gas, whereas it's 98% kill using the trickle method.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think you're right with the vaporization. You've got to make sure you don't breathe it in as a beekeeper. It doesn't affect the bees the same way as it affects people. So you've got to be very careful.
Yeah, you're right, Gary, and you've got to be very, very careful because you need to get away from the hive once you're doing it.
Yeah.
In case a light breeze comes and it wafts it into your base, and you don't need to breathe that stuff down because it can cause serious illness. There's no question about that.
Yeah, no, it's not pleasant at all. Absolutely.
No,
so as far as the essential oils, how do you give those to the bees? Is that in a sugar syrup?
Yeah, there's three methods really. I'll send you a presentation on it, okay?
Okay, well, yeah, we'll put it in the show notes, yep.
Yeah, the three methods are, you've got your sugar syrup, which you use, and I only use about 2 drops per gallon of liquid. And I also use it in a spray. When I don't use a smoke, Gary, when I'm doing my bees. I use a sugar spray, and I use a very, very light sugar spray, and I put 1 drop of essential oil into that spray. So when I'm spraying the bees, I'm spraying them not only with the sugar, but I'm spraying with the essential oil, which the bee then becomes a vehicle to transfer that right down the hive. And when they lick it up, they pass it between them. So the essential oil is going through the whole hive.
Yeah.
And of course, the liquid feed, when they feed the young and pass it on, it can go into the larvae, and it's inside the larvae cell. So it's another vehicle to protect them against the varroa mites. And the varroa mite, by the way, die anywhere near essential oils. Yeah. And the other way is actually to make lard patties. I don't know if you're familiar with that, lard patties. Or
I have seen that, yeah. It's like a big block, isn't it? Like a, what do they call it? Fondant? Sort of like that consistency?
Well, no, this one is grease. I think you just call it, we call it lard or Crisco. The Americans have Crisco. Do you have Crisco?
Oh, no, we do have lard here, yeah.
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 Okay. That's from the British Empire.
Yeah, we're very, very British influenced here.
So if you have lard, you would have the same equal weight of, say, ice and sugar with lard. And then you put the essential oil in and mix it up like a pate. Now you can put that across at the entrance of the beehive, so bees walk across it, pick it up, or you can put it on top of actually the top bars of the brood box.
Yeah.
So bees will eat and lick it and spread it all over them and spread it all around them.
Yeah.
And they seem to quite enjoy it as well. And again, that becomes a vehicle to pass that around the hive. And of course, the thing about if it's on the bees, the varroa mite has these suckers. Let's say the walk have got like suckers on the end of their feet, and they can't grip the mite anyway. They can't grip the bee, so they slide off and things like that. It all helps.
Fantastic. Do you run your hives with mesh boards as well?
Yeah, I do. But I did up until 2 years ago because the mesh board, I don't know if you know this, a British guy invented the mesh board in 1911. And then it went out of favour, and then it came back once our varroa might come back in. But I don't think the bees in our climate do very well at all with the mesh floor in the winter. Summer, great, no problem. But the winter is so damp and so cold, it really is. So I've stopped using mesh boards now, and I think a lot of people are going that route as well here.
Oh, okay. What's your plans for next season then?
Next season, God, I have so much to do.
Well, your season's a couple of months away, isn't it? When is your...
Yeah, it is. I mean, my daughter's getting married in May. That's my first daughter. Yeah. Jasmine, she's getting in May, which everything has to take a back seat. That's my first. I have 4 daughters. One's getting married this year, the other one's getting married the following year, and the other one's the year after.
Wow.
And you know that film, Four Weddings and a Funeral?
Yeah.
It'll be my funeral when I pay for them, I would imagine. So,
I hope not, Michael. I hope not.
No. I've got a nice trip going to the North Carolina Beekeeping Association in July, which I'm looking forward to because normally I go to Georgia University or Florida University because I'm very heavily involved in honey judging.
Yeah.
I'm really involved with that and train honey judges, and we've got 2 brilliant places now, one in Florida. If you ever want to look at a good site, look at Florida University, Bee College. And the other one is Young Harris Beekeeping Institute in Georgia. You know, I'm very involved with those two at the moment. I'm writing a book which I've been writing for 10 years on honey judges, preparing for the show bench and how to judge. Now, I've actually, as one of my New Year's resolutions, I was supposed to promise myself I will keep at it from January, and I'm doing quite so well, but it takes an awful lot of work on writing a paragraph, you know, and it's going to take me a while, but that's one of my goals this year is to get that finished, to be honest with you, Gary. And besides that, I want to increase my bees up to 12 because, you know, I think 12 is a perfect number for me. And other than that, we have so much in my own institute, the Institute of Northern Ireland Beekeepers. We have something on every month. We've got mead lessons. We've got wax lessons, how to make candles, wax candles, things like that. Yeah. So I'm very involved with that, you know.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It's a lot of work.
I saw recently you were doing a lecture about something there. What was it about? I think it was recipes or something.
Yeah. I like, you know, it's like a busman's holiday with me. I mean, I did teach, as you know, the Belfast Met, and of course Noel McComb. Yeah. Your relative there, a terrific guy. Noel was actually into bakery. Noel was a great baker, and I was a chef teacher. And I used a lot of honey, always did use a lot of honey in my recipes, and I made sure my students went out with that honey as being a seasoning rather than not just an additive, and a great seasoning. I mean, if you make a nice tomato soup, put a couple of big dollops into the pot and taste it before you put it in, and taste it after you put it in.
Yeah.
And it's a fantastic seasoning. So recipes, I have plenty of recipes, but to me, recipes and producing a book on gourmet cooking, for instance, is great, but it would be a busman's holiday. Whereas where I'm writing this book on preparing bee products for the show bench or how to become a honey judge, that really is in my heart more than anything.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. Well, tell us when you get that out there, and we'll spread that to our listeners. Yeah.
I will.
We'll try and get you on the New York bestsellers list there. Should be good.
Well, I hope so. But again, mead. I make a lot of mead, as you know. I mean, I know if the customs and excise came to my house, I would have big problems trying to say to them how much I have, because I think the law is here so we can make 300 gallons for your own use.
Yeah.
I think I could be wrong. I think that's the Customs and Excise. And the British are very, very serious when it comes to tax on Customs and Excise on whiskies and things like that,
Yeah.
I would have about 350 gallons of the stuff in the shed at the moment.
Okay. Yeah, that's...
I'm very addictive to making mead. Very addictive.
I read that. I read that on your your Facebook page. That you're addicted to making it. That's good.
It's unbelievable. It's crazy,
But don't you have to leave it in the the vat or something for about 6 months, isn't it? It's quite a long time.
Yeah. I have mead there that's 20-year-old, and I have mead now I use actually, the water coolers, the plastic water coolers you turn upside, the 20 litres?
Yep.
Where you going to take a drink from? I use those there. Now, I have 12 of those going at the moment. That's stupid, when you think about it. That's 12, 20 litres.
Yeah, that's a lot.
But, to me, I suppose it could be the chef thing as well, with food. And I make an awful lot, but I flavour my mead with different concoctions. I make chocolate mead, pomegranate and blueberry, and some of the stuff is stunning. I mean, really, one of the best meads I ever made was licorice, of all things.
Oh, wow.
I mean, the licorice was to die for, and I was quite fortunate. I know a lot of chefs, and we have the Great British Menu here, and one of my best chefs, students, he wanted to enter the competition, and Prince Charles, of course, His Majesty Prince Charles, is the patron of the British Chefs competition.
Yeah.
So after doing the menu, he used my licorice mead for poaching rhubarb in, and he used the linged heather honey to make the ice cream for that particular dish. Well, lo and behold, he won the competition anyway of the Great British Menu from Wales, Scotland, and England. And then, of course, all the competitors come together and have a big banquet with Prince Charles and in Bath. And the ice cream and rhubarb was served as the desserts, and it was stunning. And Prince Charles noted how good the rhubarb was, so he managed to get 6 bottles of the licorice mead, and he just said it was stunning,
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, well, I think one of our past guests, Phil Chandler, he's actually running courses at his estate, apparently, Prince Charles's estate.
Yeah, that's correct.
Highbrook, that's it. Yeah. He's never...
Phil's a great beekeeper. He's a good friend of mine, and the way he's going is quite it's a new, dramatic way, but it's like everything else. If you have a new idea, you can very quickly attract enemies for some unknown reason. And anybody in any field comes up with a new idea, a new suggestion, it frightens people, and they start to get a wee bit upset, and, you shouldn't be doing this and all this business. Phil is a great beekeeper and certainly very clever.
Yeah.
And what he's doing is very good, and it's being copied quite a lot all over the world, especially in America. They'd like the style of the open top bars and all this, and he's a good guy, Phil,
Yeah,
but he has come under a lot of criticism through his methods, through what we can say, the old brigade. I'm sure you don't have any of those over there.
There's a few, but yeah, no, I think Phil's got some great ideas, and I think that, the best idea is what works for you and your bees, isn't it? That's my opinion.
I mean, if you don't like it, you don't have to try it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. No, he's an interesting character, so we must get him back on the show. But I think he's busy writing a book at the moment, apparently. So
he is, and he's working hard, and he believes in what he believes, and he's doing a good job. I mean, anything new in beekeeping is great, because it's the new ideas that take us forward.
Exactly. And I think a lot of hobbyists, they do come up with new ideas because, it's more one-on-one with their bees and stuff, as opposed to commercial guys. So
yeah, and it's like people like Phil, and I'm sure you have people over at Beekeepers, and it's like Massey Ferguson. I don't know if you know the tractor guy, Ferguson. he lived down the road. He only lives 2 miles from me, where he did live. And the ideas he came with was crazy, and it was in a shed in the middle of the country.
Yeah.
Absolutely unbelievable what he designed. And, and it's strange because my friend Cecil, who actually works in the Hillsborough Castle, he actually was a friend of Ferguson, George Ferguson. And George Ferguson actually gave him a trophy for the Beekeeping Association. And they still have this trophy. Okay, George Ferguson is dead now, of course, but he still has this trophy, which is the Ferguson Trophy. And it's guys like him and like Phil Shander and like other people who come up with these new ideas and test them and try them and take you forward, And well done to Philip Shander.
Exactly. Yeah, well, I'll make sure he hears about this podcast, so he'll get a chuckle. Oh, no, that's fantastic, Michael. Well, I really appreciate you coming along tonight. So how can people get hold of you? What's the best way if people want to get hold of you? Or via your association, or?
Yeah. INIBeekeepers.com. So that's INIBeekeepers.com. That's our website, and that's where you'll get me, if you need anything,
Oh, we'll include it.
I'll send you my friend's address in New Zealand, where he's opened up a beekeeping college. And I'm sure some of your listeners probably have that, but he's a good guy to keep in touch with, and maybe one day I might visit him.
Yeah, absolutely. And come and visit us. Yeah,
it'd be brilliant. If I can get rid of these weddings, I'll be...
Well, the trick is, Michael, is to have the weddings in New Zealand, you see.
Well, if I hadn't got these weddings, I'd have a fat boy Harley.
Well, cheers for coming on. So thanks everyone for listening. This has been Kiwimana, and the show notes for this one is kiwimana.co.nz/43. We'll hear all those links and those books and everything that Michael shared. So thanks again, Michael, for coming along, and we'll just end the show there.